Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Iqra Hafeez and you're watching Desi TV USA. Let's have a look at the news. Former US President Donald Trump has once again demanded the abolition of the Constitution, alleging massive rigging in the 2020 presidential election. A few days ago, Elon Musk, the founder of the popular social media application Twitter, shared some documents called Twitter files, which included the steps taken by the former management of the social media app to curb the freedom of the expression. Elon Musk's team provided author Matt Taibbi with some documents regarding controversial decisions by the previous administration, including a New York Times article on content found on Hunter Biden's laptop 3 weeks before the 2020 presidential election. Limited access was reported. The former US president also alleged that major technology firms are also working with Democrats regarding Joe Biden's victory in the presidential election. Donald Trump wrote that our great founders did not want false and fraudulent elections and will never forgive them. White House spokesman Andrew Bates responded to Donald Trump's statement and said that you can't show your love for America just by winning. The Constitution is a sacred document. Houston Ethnic Media Roundtable meeting at Houston in action on Wednesday, November 30th, 2022, and talk on different agendas like briefing to support our editorial coverage in professional way, access to newsmakers and subject matter experts, strategies for generating and expanding revenues in order to survive, sustain, and become successful by identifying the stakeholders and generous people and organizations who believe in diversity and inclusivity. And Sandy Close of Ethnic Media is taking the lead along with other ethnic media partners like Evelyn Castro, VP of La Prensa de Houston, Jawahar Malhotra of Indo-American News, Lucy Liu of Epic Time, and Tariq Khan from Pakistan Publications Incorporation group of companies, and with their publications Pakistan Chronicle, South Asian Chronicle, Pakistan Journal and TV channel Desi TV USA, DTVNN, and their new DTV Flix promise Sandy Close to be on her side and willing to work hard as team to help Sandy Close for Ethnic Media Incorporation to achieve common goals for media. Sandy Close starting the roundtable talk and Brandon and storming sessions, Houston in action on 5300 Caroline Street, Houston.
There is still a need for in-language media.
Right.
And in Los Angeles, there are many news, Chinese language media platforms.
But it's a
Those
smaller
were-
percentage of the total square footage we
Yes,
print.
yes.
I mean, he
So-
prints USA, what's it called, USA, right, in English. And then they have the daily Chinese newspaper too.
Yeah.
But you recognize that you gotta go that direction.
Yeah, you're making an extremely important point. It has to be both and,
Mhm.
or we'll be in a corner.
Right?
I just have a quick question
And
because
then I'm gonna
yeah, I'm
go
so
to
sorry.
our
I won't
last
take too much of
one.
the time. I know that California works completely different than Texas. I'm talking about black and white or white and black. Completely different because even Google doesn't want to work with a lot of California papers. How can you, I know that you are an expert in California. There's different laws here in Texas.
Right.
Completely different than California. What have you done in California that you can apply here, and what would be the difference here that you cannot do in California?
I think there's things we can do here that have worked in California,
Correct.
but this will only work if it is shaped by the experiences in this room and by what is possible in Texas. In other words, the California model is only a starting point.
Correct.
This has to be ground zero. It has to be, and this is where I do think Houston Endowment can be an ally, can be an asset for us, because they have political influence. Look at their big new building. It's like in California, the California Endowment was why the Affordable Care Act worked. It really was in California. It was the California Endowment that drove the policymakers in California to expand Medi-Cal to kids, for example. So I do think that that's an important alliance we can build up. We need to, we can help bring together some important resources to brainstorm how to make this work in Texas. That's essentially what we can facilitate. We can't necessarily lead, but we can facilitate.
So I
You
think
need
that's
to
what we're
lead.
missing, the lead, because we don't have the bandwidth to lead. And I feel like I have enough time because I have a whole team behind me, but without my team, I wouldn't be able to do as much research as I've done.
Right.
So to come and, like, I had spoken to the gentleman from Houston In Style magazine, I believe I don't remember his name, but I had spoken to him in regards to already pursuing the whole law and legislative
Right.
stuff. But again, I don't have the time to go deeper into it, and it's just a
Exactly.
matter
And
of.
and it could be, in the end, what we ask the endowment to fund is somebody who can be a full-time coordinator for this effort.
Yeah, I was going to ask the Democracy Fund to fund me with funds for an executive assistant in order to relieve the Texas.
Well, that, having this access to this group may be a very, we know the Democracy Fund from way back. One of the advantages of being old is that I've been around the nonprofit sector for
Yeah.
many, many years.
And that's something that I'm getting my hands dirty with
Right.
because I understand that
No,
that's
but
what
that-
we need to do.
And that's great. Let's quickly, because I don't want
Sorry,
to keep people.
Let's say,
No, I'll let him, I will do the last part because I
Okay.
came late.
Okay.
So I'll have this people.
So this is your publishing day. Thank you for being here. I know you're pretty much a one-person operation, and this is very valuable that you give your time. So Korea Journal, what advantage would there be for you to be part of a larger network?
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity and active media in Houston. Then you already know that my past experience, but my Korean journal is not nation newspaper. It's a independent community located newspaper. We have the 40 years. But it's very difficult time after the COVID. It's the same as in them. We knew that we have to change something to the digital media, but finally it's a manpower, lack of manpower. We already about 2 years hiring the reporter, because right now it's only me,
Yeah.
survivor. Before we 3 reporter, but right now only me cover all of them. And then we hiring the reporter, the staff, but never apply. And then
Nobody applied.
yeah.
Even if they
Yeah.
apply,
Yeah.
they come and waste your time with like
Yeah,
the interview and then
the
they don't
young
come.
generation
trained.
didn't want
Yeah.
to Monday through Friday, even weekend, they didn't want to work.
Yeah.
And then during the COVID, our company get the SBA EIDL loan. That is, we think about this is a big chance to really change. But right now, we still our financial is very difficult. So we never change. We trying to Yeah, but,
It takes money
yes
to
yes.
change. I know, to stop what you're doing. and try something new. It takes resources.
And then I feel in ethnic media, but Korean community it is different to the California. In Houston, our population is very small,
Yeah.
and then inside API community, it's very small, tiny, and then I felt always left behind. How can, because the Chinese media or Vietnam media, India, Pakistan, they big population, but we are very, very small.
Yeah.
35,000 or 40. But it's a very small population. How do our independent is of the small, tiny media can cooperate? But sometimes you talk to the commercial advertising, but we never tried to.
Yeah.
But the 2020 census, that is government to the PR. We tried newspaper tried very hard, but it's almost 7 months I fighting.
I know.
Yeah, and then, but it is very important experience to us. But after that, we very small budget gap. But after that, it's open door, and after that we get some government advertising on and on. But commercial advertising field in
Very,
mainstream,
yeah.
I never.
What was your government advertising?
Right now is the health department,
The which?
the
Oh,
health
health.
department,
Health.
or
Yeah.
something like,
Right,
yes.
okay.
But
Thank you.
it's a corporate, and then we will very
Yeah.
it's getting power.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has vowed to oppose Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank or its inclusion as part of Israel. He promised that he would judge the incoming government of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu on actions rather than personalities. Addressing a pro-Israel advisory group, Blinken also congratulated Netanyahu. Blinken said that we will examine the policies of the government instead of personalities. The U.S. Secretary of State also called for gay rights in Israel. Around 90 people gathered at the Alberta legislature on Sunday to protest Premier Donald Smith's proposed Alberta sovereignty within a United Canada Act. A counter-protest of roughly the same size also took to the grounds in support of the controversial legislation. The bill, introduced Tuesday by Smith as the signature legislation of her new administration, has faced widespread condemnation for granting her and her cabinet sweeping authority to redress any federal policy, law or program it deems harmful to Alberta. 4 days after Smith introduced the bill, she and her cabinet members rejected accusations, including from legal and constitutional scholars, that the bill granted unchecked power to cabinet. Iran executed 4 people who worked for the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad. According to foreign media, 4 people convicted of working for Israel's intelligence agency have been sentenced to death. The Iranian court upheld the death sentence of the 4 men, stating that these 4 men worked with Israel's intelligence service. It should be noted that a few days ago, the Iranian court sentenced 4 people to death for theft, kidnapping and damage to public property based on the report of the Israeli intelligence service. The other 3 members of this group were sentenced to 5 to 10 years in prison for harming national security, possessing illegal weapons and aiding and abetting kidnappings. That's all for now. For more updates, keep watching Desi TV USA or visit our website desitvUSA.com.